Hey everybody, how you doing? Wanted to make an overall Powerschool tutorial. I have one for Power Teacher. I have one specifically about category weighting inside Power Teacher, but I actually never did one. It occurred to me that I never did one on how to actually navigate the main Powerschool page. We find ourselves already on this page because I'm assuming that you've been given your login information from me or somebody else. The most important thing that I want to point out to you is that there is going to be, especially if you teach in both schools, you need to pay close attention to what it says up here. Fuchs Mizrahi High School is the landing page that I have as my default. But if I want to do anything with my classes in the junior high, I have to click school, switch it over to middle school. Now you did see over there in that drop-down district office, that is just because I'm an admin and that's when I make changes on a global level. But everybody has, who teaches in middle school and high school, has the ability to switch between schools. So now you see that I switched to middle school and I actually have my class over here. So that's probably the most important part of just your main navigation, is knowing which school you're in. Another thing is you can tell me if you want your default school to be high school or junior high. Like if it's annoying for you, you only teach like one class in one school, but you open up to that school and the majority of your classes are in the other, just tell me and it's a little button that I can click on my end where I can make your default school be the one that you want. Anyway, so that's the first thing, is the school button. You're also going to have to pay attention every so often to which term you're in. It's not changeable. Sometimes you might find inside Powerschool, in Power Teacher, that you can change terms or semesters, but that's just another thing that's up here on the right. Okay, on the left we have other. I want to look at these navigation links over here. We've got Power Teacher Pro, which we're not going to load right now, but that does load your main grading interface. That's how you're supposed to enter grades. Again, you could also get it from here. The start page is what we're on currently. Daily Bulletin, I don't think we ever use. But if we were to put stuff in the Daily Bulletin, it would show up here. And your schedule is something, if you don't already know your schedule, you could see it. There's a staff directory. Really, all these things are pretty self-explanatory, but you're not really going to find yourself using this left navigation pane all that much. You're really just going to be using what it says here in your classes. So let's take a look at what it says in your classes. As we mentioned, Power Teacher Pro is right here, and that would, you know what, just for the sake of it, let's load, and just to show you what that looks like, it loads Power Teacher Pro. One of the things you're going to see is an error message because the school year hasn't started yet, and I'm recording this before the classes have started. But here, you know, is where you would make sure you're in the right semester and in the right class. It should say S1 up here and all that stuff, and you'd see like a list of your kids and all that stuff. But I did an overall Power Teacher tutorial in a different screencast, so I'm actually not going to be doing that here. So let's go back to the main page then, and see what else we have at our disposal. Unfortunately, in this screencast, because the school year hasn't started yet, I am not able to show you what the attendance screen looks like. This is basically your most frequent interaction with Powerschool is going to be this attendance icon, this chair here. It's grayed out for me and all of you right now because class hasn't started yet, and it also is grayed out on days where you don't teach a class. It automatically grays out, but when it is available, you should be able to click in there and do attendance. Basically, if you leave everything blank, that means everybody is present and you just click submit. But then you could also click on the drop downs by people's names and change them to absent or late. One thing that I would just point out here, I happen to know that it's high school policy that if a student isn't there, regardless of what the reason is, you mark them absent. They are responsible for getting the proper, note into the administrative assistant in the high school. They or their parents really are responsible for that. And it is not your job to figure out where a kid is. You just mark them absent if they weren't in your class, and it will be dealt with later, and it's not on you. So that's basically what I would have to say about attendance. Here, however, we can click on this because it is the multi-day attendance chart. Single day is out here, but let's say you forgot to do attendance or something like that. Well, that would be what you what you click on in order to try to fill in your attendance for a certain day that you might have missed. You can also make seating charts here. I don't personally do that. but maybe if somebody does do that in the school, you could talk to them about it. But there's no point in me clicking on that because I wouldn't be able to navigate you through that. So that's really all there is to it. I mean, we don't use lunch program or any of those things, and you could use print when you want to, but basically that's the main page, and that's what you're going to be doing on the main page, is making sure that you have the right school selected, and you won't be able to take attendance for your class if you're in the wrong school. If you don't see your classes because you're in the wrong school. And then the other thing we talked about was basically just attendance, and that is the main Powerschool interface. Once again, I did make a tutorial on an in-depth overview of how to use Power Teacher, and so you can also watch that if you would like some more information on that. Thank you very much. Have a great day.